Welcome to another Art of Rivals. This time I'll be explaining how you should be playing the game and what your objectives are in neutral, advantage state, and disadvantage state. Neutral is when both players have full control of their character and are looking for an opening against each other through good movement, safe pressure, or callouts. Neutral does heavily revolve around good movement and is something that you'll constantly be working on as you get better at this game. Another extremely important execution to master is short hopping and landing your aerials as low as possible to the ground so that you can shield pressure safely and effectively. Safe shield pressure is super important to understand. You can set a specific button to short hop if you want, and it's recommended to use the right control stick for all the aerials except neutral airs, which can also be mapped to a shoulder button for example, so that you can choose to drift yourself however you want as the aerial comes out. Using a rising aerial is usually punishable against shield at higher levels, so be careful not to develop that habit, unless it's a multi-hit that can safely pass through shields. Different characters land different aerials for safe shield pressure, and some aerials are safer than others. You can find out which aerials are the safest against shield by either watching the Art of series or go to rivalsframedata.com and find the aerial with the least amount of minus frames. So instead of, for example, dash attacking an opponent to try hitting them ruthlessly to deal damage and risking getting punished for it, it'll be better to substitute it for a short hop landed aerial. The lower the aerial hits to the ground, the safer it'll be, and it'll be even safer if you've spaced yourself well. It'll also be safer if you've crossed up the shield, since you won't have to worry about getting grabbed now. After you've landed your aerial against shields and spaced yourself well, your best option will typically be to move right after. Wave dashing and perfect pivots work too. And right after moving away, you'll want to be ready, reacting, or adapting to what the opponent typically does out of shield. Whether they attacked out of shield and are open for a whiff punish, or maybe they jumped and are open for an anti-air, or even potentially punished as they attempt to land. Or maybe they roll and you can punish them before the roll ends, and so on. You can also land an aerial with good spacing and then shield and try reacting to the opponent, or land an aerial and attack right after if you've spaced yourself well enough not to get grabbed or punished out of shield. And you can even land an aerial and crouch right after for a potential crouch cancel. Keep in mind that you never want to shield pressure and then roll away, as just dashing away will always start faster and end faster, giving you a lot more room to react. Of course, since this is a fast-paced game that's heavily based on movement, you won't be spacing well every time. However, if you have a safe enough aerial, you still might be able to dash away even if you land up close. Or if you have a fast enough jab, you could potentially interrupt whatever the opponent would do out of shield. However, if they keep holding their shield, you'll potentially get punished unless you are good at mixing up your jab. Some aerials will even be safe enough to allow you to full hop right after, and some won't be safe enough for dash away to even work at all, in which case you might be forced to spot dodge instead. Some tilts, if spaced, can also be safe against shield, and can give you the same aggressive or defensive follow-ups. All of this, by the way, can be practiced in training mode, by setting the CPU's behavior to shield and their counter option to grab, up smashes, aerials, or anything else you want. Pressure is important to control the pace of the game, and it can make the opponent be the first to pull the trigger on something committal or reactable. And things can become more and more reactable the more patient you are with your pressure, as you observe how they typically deal with it. Hitting a shield safely should be as valuable as trying to hit someone, as landing aerials aren't just great for shield pressure, but they will typically also allow you to combo if they hit. By the way, I want to take a moment to let you guys know that this is a brand new channel, so if you're enjoying this kind of content, then make sure you subscribe to this channel. And if you can, support me on my Metafy support page that's in the description so I can make a lot more content like this. And if you can't support me, that's fine, at least follow me on my social medias. Alright, back to the video. One extremely important thing about neutral is understanding the burst range. Roughly around this range is typically what's referred to as the burst range, and it becomes a tiny bit smaller or bigger depending on how slow or fast the character is, as well as how much range they might have. If you're outside of the burst range and you choose to approach, you'll typically just miss. And if you're too close, you might just simply get hit by anything. And so it's important to keep this range in mind when grounded attempting to approach, and even while airborne, as understanding good position is a part of spacing yourself well. While at burst range, there are typically 3 key neutral intentions. The first is to try playing it safe, by, for example, jumping in or dashing in and pressuring safely, not for the intent to hit, but for the intent to pressure shield. The second intention is to try calling out the opponents with a quick burst option if you think they'll be dashing, or you dash grab them if you think they'll be shielding, or you'll anti-air them aggressively if you think that they'll be jumping. So no intent to pressure or play safe, but instead full intent on calling out the opponent and just hitting them. And while this is less safe of a playstyle, it can still end up becoming hard to punish because of how fast certain moves are, or because they end up crossing up shields. The third neutral intention is to play a bait and punish game, because while you're at burst range, the opponent might go for a safe approach or a quick call out against you, and so by moving in and out of the burst range, you'll be ready to step out of the position that you were previously able to get approached and try finding a whiff punish, for example. Be mindful, however, since the opponent can still call out your dash away by overshooting their burst option. Another form of bait and punish could be shield dashing in, which is done to potentially cause a miss space and find a punish out of shield. And if there was no punish, you could instead try pressuring them safely out of your shield, or just simply disengage from the situation by jumping out or wave dashing out. And of course, crouch canceling can be used as another form of bait and punish as well. Except for these 3 neutral intentions, you can also always try to mix up your opponent, by for example jumping in and landing with a grab or another grounded attack. You could jump and double jump mix up, or you can dash in and wave dash out to fake out your intention. Part of mixing up intention is to also learn how to pace yourself differently sometimes, and mix up your timings. And of course, outside of burst range, projectiles are safer to use and can still pressure the opponent from afar, or disrupt their movement. Even though neutral is super important, what's significantly more important is to find that one hit that brings you into the advantage state, and take that as far as you possibly can. Once you get a good hit in, you'll enter the advantage state, while they enter the disadvantage state, and you'll be spending much more time here compared to neutral. The 3 main aspects of advantage state are combos, tech chasing, and edgeguarding. The combo game is unique for each character and can be very complex, as it allows for a lot of aggressive freedom, not just because of platforms, but especially because of mechanics like hit falling, some aerials having weaker sour spots for combo extensions, as well as aerials having reverse hitboxes behind them for even more possibilities. There's also a good amount of defensive freedom for the player getting comboed, as not only will the size and the weight of the character matter in what kind of combo would work on them, but also how they DI and SSDI, meaning it requires you to be ready to react and free flow a lot of combos. Combos can be finished in 3 ways, either by launching them towards a tech situation on stage or on platforms, or you launch them really high up where the combo ends and then they can try attempting to land, or you launch them off stage for a potential edge guard. Tech chasing has a simple structure to it. You'll just want to do your best reacting or reading whether the opponent will miss a tech in place, or tech to the left or right. This can become much easier at the corners of the stage or on platforms, since you might need to deal with one less tech roll option. If they miss a tech and you have time to immediately punish, then that's always recommended. However, if you don't have time and are afraid they might get up attack or get up special before you can hit them, then you can still shield dash into it, or jump around the attack and punish, or even dash in and wave dash back to distance yourself from the hit, and either react to the attack or react to any of the other tech options. Platform tech chases work similarly in that you'll want to either stay under the platform and react to their tech option, or read it with something more committal like an aerial, which in some cases can still allow you to immediately react to their tech option if they manage to avoid your aerial. Catching landings is pretty simple too. You just need to try following the launch and hit them before they land. And in a lot of cases, when landing seems too difficult, the opponent might just try to retreat to the ledge. When launching them off stage, it'll be important to follow the launch as well to try hitting the opponent as they attempt to recover. And every matchup has a unique edgeguarding game since each character has their own type of recovery. Either way, just simply going off stage for an edgeguard can result in the opponent needing to space themselves away from a hit, which could limit their recovery enough for you to retreat to attempt ledge hogging them instead, and potentially even hitting their final recovery attempt right after grabbing the ledge, since you'll be able to retain invincibility as you attack when you immediately release the ledge. Once the recovering opponent grabs the ledge, it's typically a safe spot, as long as they know that they can immediately release the ledge and double jump in with an attack or ledge dash in with invincibility. If they don't know about this, then you'll be able to potentially hit them hanging at the ledge or potentially react to any of their ledge options. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about how you can implement all of these things in training mode, so look forward to that one. I'm also planning on making art of videos for specific characters which will teach you how to play or beat them. So, subscribe, follow me on my social medias, and support me on my Metafy page if you want to see more content like this. I'm also gonna start doing coaching on this game, so if you're interested at truly getting better at this game and winning your locals or tournaments, you'll find me on Metafy, and I'll see you soon.